Hi there. Welcome to another of the Richmond School District's numeracy videos. My name is Janice Nowakowski, and I am a district teacher consultant supporting teachers teaching kindergarten through grade 12 in the areas of mathematics and numeracy. Numeracy is an important part of our district's strategic plan as we think about what it means to inspire learners and to be numerate citizens. In this video today, we will talk about what a numeracy task is. The BC Ministry of Education defines numeracy as an application of mathematics, a way to use mathematics to solve problems and explore issues that are important to the world, our communities, our families, and ourselves. The term numeracy tasks first became quite prevalent in British Columbia because of the graduation numeracy assessment that students in our province take for the first time in grade 10. Dr. Peter Lilydale of Simon Fraser University also popularized the term numeracy tasks in our province. So in the graduation numeracy assessment, students are presented with numeracy tasks as an opportunity to apply the mathematics they've learned throughout their schooling in particular contexts. Some are societal, scientific, connected to Indigenous perspectives, and other areas of learning, such as science and social studies. Part of the numeracy tasks for the graduation numeracy assessment follow the numeracy cycle, which has 5 processes embedded in it. So again, students are presented with a situational context. They interpret that context and pull out the mathematics involved in that context, and then solve and apply mathematics to solve that particular problem or investigate that issue. And then they analyze their findings or their solutions and reflect on those, and then communicate their findings and investigations, putting that math back into that context and sharing their results. This is how the graduation numeracy assessment specifies what a numeracy task is, so that it connects mathematical understanding to those contexts, and that those contexts are relevant and authentic for students to think about those 5 numeracy processes. Thinking more broadly from kindergarten through grade 12, we can think of a numeracy task as a contextualized problem, which can be mathematized. So a little bit beyond what we would call a traditional word problem or story problem. It's a contextualized problem in the world, in the community, in students' lives. It can be solved using a variety of strategies, skills, and concepts that students have developed over time and over the grades and years in the system, and that students use those 5 numeracy processes, again, to engage with the task. Some of those processes maybe more significant in some tasks, and others, maybe less, they may spend less time on those, but all 5 need to sort of exist as an opportunity, at least for students to engage in those 5 processes. In, again, the graduation numeracy assessment, there are 4 specific types of numeracy tasks. The fair share task, where students are thinking about how to share something like a cell phone plan or a data plan, or sharing a certain quantity of things fairly. It doesn't always mean equal. So there's those ideas of equity and fairness come into how students interpret that particular issue or problem. Plan and design, where students come up with a plan for something and share their plan and design, and that could be building something, creating something, or coming up with their own sort of a table of information as a plan or a timeline. Reasoned estimates, so about how much, or using quantity or measurement to think about a particular issue or task. And then modeling mathematics. And modeling is essentially all of what these numeracy tasks are, but modeling is a very specific context where you really look at an issue, you pull out the mathematics very specifically, take that mathematics and work with the math, and then put it back into the particular context. And then for our youngest students, also that idea of just, a contextualized problem that's, connected to something of interest or in their lives is another way to begin to be thinking about numeracy tasks. So here's just one example from a kindergarten classroom. So this is a plan and design task, and students had been thinking about measurement and using reference to compare size and lots of movement in kindergarten classes. So we invited students, these were kindergarten students at Spilluckwux Elementary, to design an obstacle course in their classroom for each other. And so they drew a plan, and then they tested their plan. And part of the criteria was that students in the class all had to be able to do the obstacle course. And so this student in the middle used a full backpack as a reference for a 5-year-old. And if that backpack could fit under the different objects like tables or chairs, like they wanted them to do in the obstacle course, then they justified their plan that way. And you can see the maps that the students drew as part of their plan and design process. Here's an example for sort of grade 2, grade 3 level, and sort of differentiating between what a mathematics task is and a numeracy task. So on the left here, you can see that these are strong, open-ended math tasks. Using a centimeter ruler, measure the length of your hand. What else can you measure? Record your measurements. So again, students can go around the classroom or around the school measuring different things and recording their information. And that's really building foundational understanding of measurement as a quantity and a unit. The second math task, what different ways can you arrange 24 pumpkin seeds? Sorry, school bell there. It doesn't really matter that they're pumpkin seeds, but that idea that you can arrange items in lots of different ways: 4 by 6, 3 by 8, 2 by 12, 12 by 2, etc., and play with that idea. And then a numeracy task, different than a mathematics task, still taking some of those ideas, but giving lots more room for interpretation and students being able to bring their own thoughts and ideas into the task. So pumpkin seeds need to be planted 40 centimeters apart. Plan how to plant the pumpkin seeds in our school's garden bed. What tools might you need? Why do you think this is a good plan? How will you share your plan? So at the end there's those 3 sort of prompting questions to help students do some interpretation and to think about how they're going to analyze and communicate their plan and their findings. Oops, sorry. Another example from grade 8. This is at McNair Secondary. And the type of numeracy task is really a combination of plan and design and reasoned estimate. And we began, working with this class and brainstorming what numeracy is and their ideas about what numeracy is. And then we presented them with an authentic task. We had recently had a power outage here in Richmond. And we said there's a power outage, so you won't have access to Wi-Fi or be able to charge your phones. How are you going to use the time? It's projected, 5 hours before the power is back on. And then we gave them some information about how much data certain apps take, whether it's, a texting, whether they're texting or whether they're using YouTube and, or downloading something to view the different amounts of data that those different choices take, and then having students come up with a plan for how they'll use their time. And they were all different and lots of conversation. They were put into groups of 2 or 3. And so they collaborated and they were on the whiteboards, standing up and throwing down different ideas together and then developing a plan. They thought about sort of the key ideas that were important to them to be thinking about. And then the groups went around and shared their different plans and their thinking that went along with that. So just some examples there of what numeracy tasks are and some examples from Richmond classrooms. So as you think about considering planning for numeracy tasks in your context, first, think about what students are currently interested in, what is going on in the world, in their lives or in their classes. Capture their interest, and that's going to increase engagement right away. And then once you have that idea as for a context, think about what mathematical connections you can make, curricular content as well as curricular competencies, and then start to put the tasks together in terms of what you're expecting the math that students will do and what sort of findings or solutions they might come up with. And then how will you provide opportunities for students to engage in those 5 numeracy processes? So interpreting, applying, solving, analyzing, and communicating their findings or their solutions. So that is a quick overview of what a numeracy task is. And I look forward to hearing about numeracy tasks happening in classrooms across the Richmond School District. Thank you for joining me for this video.